Hi, y'all. This here's Clem Bob. The news with Clem Bob. Well, anyhow, right now I was going to take a little deep dive on some religion in heaven and hell. I'm going to talk about, who's going to heaven, who's going to hell, what heaven's like, what hell's like, all that kind of stuff. Anyhow, it's really kind of simple. You know, if you want to go to heaven, there's four things you got to be. You got number one, you got to be American. Number two, you got to be Republican. Number three, you got to be white. Number four, you got to be Christian. It's just that simple, and it ain't that hard to figure out. If you're all four of them things, you're going to heaven. So then you think about, well, then who's going to hell? Then it's like, well, everybody else really is what it is. So I can get specific on that. It'd be like all the libtards and the communists and socialists and Marxists and all them doped up hippies and the crack babies and welfare queens and all peoples like that. Everybody on the left. All them kinds of peoples. They're all going to burn in hell, in the fires of hell. And then everybody on the other every other country is going to go to hell because they ain't American. If you ain't American, you ain't going to heaven. That's all. It's just that simple. With one little exception, and that'd be Israel. Now, the thing with Israel, that there's the Holy Land right there. But the thing about that is, God, he's looking at Israel, and that's the Holy Land. So he's like, well, we're going to give them a chance. Them's is all Jews over there, and none of them Christians. They're all Jews. So he's going to give them an option when time comes. He's going to say, well, you willing to accept Christ? And if if these Jews, they say no, well, okay, you're going to burn in hell. And if they say, well, yeah, I guess so, well, then they get to go to heaven. I mean, it's that simple. But that's the only exception. You got Israel, because there's a whole land, and got people over there, and God, he's going to give them a chance. He's going to give them an option. But other than that, everybody else in the whole wide world is going to burn in the fires of hell. And all them other religions, the Hindus and Buddhists and Muslims and all them peoples, they're all going to burn. Burn in the fires of hell is what's going to happen. But anyhow, so, we done got that all separated out. Who's going to heaven, who's going to hell. That's pretty damn simple, I'll tell you what. But anyhow, so, bigger question on this is, what's heaven like and what's hell like? Well, heaven, that's pretty easy. What heaven's like is, if you go to Alabama or Mississippi, that's about what heaven's like. You can just sit outside there and have a beer and, let the grass grow and, listen to some country music and things like that. And that's pretty much what heaven's like. So if you want to know what heaven's like, just take a trip to Alabama or Mississippi or one of them places, and that's pretty much what it's like. But you got to go to a rural area. You don't want to go to one of them big cities because that ain't no good. But you go down to some, just find a field or pasture or something out there, and or find some farmyard or something like that, and that's pretty much what heaven's going to be like. Now, hell, on the other hand, what's that going to be like? Well, they talk about that there in the good book. It's fire. You're going to burn, torture, and things like that. So get kind of an idea what hell's like. What you do is you start a big fire. Get a bunch of wood or whatever, just start a great big fire, big bonfire or whatever, and then just stand in it. And that's pretty much what hell's like, except the only difference is if you do that and you stand in there, eventually you're going to burn to death, right? You're going to go through a lot of pain and screaming, and your skin's going to melt and every other thing like that. But eventually you're going to die. It's going to end. And fire's going to go out, and that's going to be it. And the difference is, with hell, that's eternal. That's eternal hell. And that fire ain't going to quit. You're going to be burning and frying and screaming forever. Not just till you burn to death, but forever, because you're already dead, but you're going to be burning forever, eternity. And the thing is, something people don't really quite understand sometimes is that, God, He done loves everybody, right? He loves people so much that He's willing to put you in eternal hell just to prove it. Now, you can't beat that. I tell you what, that's eternity. I tell you what. So you just got to look at it that way, and you know, and so. But the thing is, if you ain't all them four things I was talking about, if you ain't American, if you ain't Republican, and you ain't white, and you ain't Christian, you ain't going to heaven no how. It ain't going to happen. You're going to burn. You're going to burn. Is what's going to happen. And some people are like, well, that don't make no sense. How come you got like, okay, some black person, he's everything else. He's Republican, Christian, American, but he ain't white. And it's like, well, the thing is, if God wanted him to go to heaven, He would have made him white. It's that simple. It ain't that hard to figure out. I tell you what. But anyhow, I think, that's about all I got to say about this stuff. You kind of got it figured out, and you just got to think about it a little bit, and you got a chance. If your skin's white, you got a chance. That's the one thing you got to remember. So anyhow, I'm just gonna cancel culture myself out and go get some grub and talk to y'all later.